Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again, for another episode of the Iconis podcast, right? And once again, I'm one of your hosts, Barry 3D, and on my side, as always, is the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, makes the turntables rock, the way, the speakers wobble back and forth, the dance floor jump up and down, people popping and locking and booty shaking and dropping, and that's how I hurt my knee. So, the one and only
DJ Rod C.
DJ Rod C. Hot dog.
Hot dog. Hamburger.
Hot dog. Hamburger. You know how we do, man. This is good. It's good. It's always good to keep coming back and doing the show and turning to everybody. And I'm glad, all you guys are tuning in and liking it. And let's get some things out of the way real quick. One, we have a Patreon page. Right on. So if you're looking for, and you'll see the link down below the video. Right. We're sharing it around and all our social media. And easy way. The Patreon page, it's got 2 tiers to it. And the fun thing is we have exclusive videos just on that. So they're called Iconis Hot Shots. Yep. So this is not for YouTube. This is exclusively for you. Not for you. It's on you. Let's try that again, Barry.
Let's try it again.
It's exclusively for Patreon.
Right.
Iconis Hot Shots. So we have videos, we've got polls. So join, help. This is a good way to help support the channel, and you get something back at the same time. And for all those that do support in time, we will compile a list and then add you onto the credits as a thank you for those that join and support the show. So really, thank you very much. If you want to tip and just do a one-time tip, that's fine. You can go over to our coffee page, and buy us a coffee, a tea, a cheeseburger, hot dog. Yeah.
Hot dog.
Yeah, even though I should be cutting back, but it is what it is. So that's another way to support the channel. And please like, subscribe, and share. Those clicks help the analytics for this show. What?
Let's go.
Those TikTok analytics. Oh man. Basically, you know where to find me. Barry3D.com. You'll find it all there. Everything for this show, everything for Iconis Hot Shot, our streaming services, podcast, the whole 9 yards, and places where to see me live, because I'm performing live with the boys once again, as always. A touch of gray matter. We got a couple of shows coming up, some dates. So we got a date May 20th, straight out of Burlington. Bwah! You could find me out in the Niagara region, because I got a show out there, a couple of shows out there. I got shows out in Hamilton for the people listening and wondering where to find me. And of course, going home August 26th, August 27th, back to Montreal.
Nice.
It's 2 nights, 2 shows per night. You'll find me and the boys out there just carrying on bad. Rod, where can we find you?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me, as I always say, on the internet, on the World Wide Web. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C. And then you can also find me on twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. Yeah, just making clear that everybody can see that. Listen, find me, holler at me, do a shout out. Listen, we're going to have some fun. Find me on Instagram. You can definitely find me at Mr. Rod C, MRRODC. You know what? I have a whole bunch of stuff that's going on, playing on live on Twitch. Find me at DJ Rod C. Holler, as I always say, say, hey, I saw you on Iconis. Give it a shout out. Let's go. We're going to have some fun with there. So with that entail, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to break it into you. We're going to take you to another place, another world, another area. Ladies and gentlemen, you see the name. You wonder what that is. We're going to break it down. The man from Atlantis. Or AKA just man from Atlantis. He's the man.
There we go.
One. Let's go.
Icon is today man from Atlantis. Say what? You mean Aquaman? No. You mean Namor the Submariner? No. We ain't talking about any of those men. You talking Stargate Atlantis? No. We taking you way back. Way back. Where TV was the outlet for our sci-fi stuff and movies, and it wasn't big budget blockbusters like we have now. Thank you, Marvel, and Doctor Strange, multiverse of madness. We weren't even in the multiverse. We were still in one universe, and it was TV, and it was made for TV movies. Yep. That's right. There was no spoilers back then. When the TV guide was not on your phone through Google or pulling up the guide on your TV, it was a book called TV Guide, and you had to buy it once a week and flip through it. If you're not sure what it looked like, watch the 70s show and see where Fred's looking for it, or Married with Children, because Ed Bundy swears by the TV Guide.
There you go.
Now, when I say we're going back, I know sometimes we're going back. This time, we ain't that far back. We back in our timeline, maybe not yours, but here we go. Man from Atlantis. Quantum leap of that thing. There we go. Right on. Man from Atlantis. So first of all, this was the name of the TV show, and before it started off, it came out in September 22nd, 1977. What was I doing in 1977?
That's what I'm doing right now. Counter 2.
Not a whole lot.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
I was doing the math.
I see. Well, I was there somewhere. I was doing something. I was
1977. I must have been. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold up. 1970.
Yeah.
Okay, we ain't gonna get right.
Give the numbers.
Let's just say I was born.
Mm-hmm.
I was young. I had hair.
We'll leave it at that. Deuces.
And that's when the show came out, right? So it came out. So the original release date was September 22nd, 1977. And then, other release date was June 6, 1978. So hold on, here we go. In 1977, this first came out as a TV made movie, and the character Man from Atlantis got introduced and did 4 movies made for TV, and then followed by 13 episodes. And that was the whole run. So not a long run on this show, but the concept was, the execs are seeing what's going on. They see the action. They like the sci-fi. They say, hey, we're going to do something. Our main character, the Man from Atlantis, and what do we say, Man from Atlantis? Because when he came about, he had no name.
He was one of those wonderful, interesting people who just kind of like washed up on the shore, unknown. And are you okay there, son? I don't know. Who are you? Who are you? I don't know. AKA the Man from Atlantis had amnesia. But we'll get into that.
Yeah,
that's why he was a nameless man. He was a nameless man.
So pretty much, as Rod was saying, he washed up on shore, had no memory of nothing. All he was him and a yellow pair of trunks, like swimming trunks, not a Speedo, swimming trunks, a little symbol on it, and that was it. And when he washed up on shore, he washed up close to a research facility, an oceanic research facility. So they went out there, they saw him, they're like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? We could help this man out. And then he's getting all dry, and he keeps running back to water. And it's like, what's he trying to run back to the water for? No, he's got to stay on land. We have to help him. They not realizing he fish man.
He man fish.
He man fish.
You know
what I mean? Not flying fish, because you fry up a good flying fish, boy.
Oh boy, that'd be gone.
Miss you, Auntie Daphne. So there you go. So she make a wicked flying fish. She made all right, I'm back. So that being said, he washed up on shore. They didn't know who he was. Research facility funded by part military, part government, private, doing research. They've come to realize a couple of things. One, they realize, okay, can't remember his name. He's suffering on land. He goes into a tank and he just sits there in the water tank, and they're looking at him like, okay, he's got to come up any second now. Any second now.
Any moment now.
He's been under there for a couple of minutes, and he ain't drowning. He's still moving around. Under observation, they realize his eyes look different. So he had like cat-like eyes, as they would say. Right. They would adjust to the light. If his fingers, he had like webbed fingers and toes.
Yep.
Right? Gills on his neck, like behind his ears, or kind of thing, to help him breathe underwater. I'm like, okay, this is something different. Looks like a normal man. Got all the points like a normal man, but there's a little bit of variances. Mutant. Yeah, the MCU didn't exist back then, but he would have been a
mutant. Yeah.
Or would he? He was born that way. So they now come to realize that they're putting all the information back in that computer. to analyze everything. This is when you're putting in, the pressing the big buttons and they see the things spin, like, the tapes are the real tapes.
This is around the same time for Star Trek to do putting like Star Trek like Spock, you're putting in the cube like computer, this is the analyst, android, no, not android, humanoid, fish-like creature, need help, confused, reboot. And then we have problems like that.
Yeah. Exactly what it was. So it came up, and even when it comes on the screen, it doesn't even write it in order.
That's true.
It does it like backwards out of order. It was like almost if you're on Wheel of Fortune, it was like Atlantis from man, so when you read it, it's like man from Atlantis. And then even the computer went question mark. It's like, we put all the information in. What did it say? Man from Atlantis?
Information needed. More information needed.
Well, that's it.
I gave it all.
So they turned around and said, okay, man from Atlantis. It's like, what's your name? I don't know what my name is. So they decided to give him an identity, and this is where he gets the name Mark Harris. Mark Harris is not his name. That's the identity he gave him, right? Mm-hmm. It's like when the people came over to Ellis Island. What's your name? Nope, you're now Smith. Mark Harris. So this is what his character is. Think he's from Atlantis. And then over the course of his adventure, you never know. They have the research facility has multiple different characters. They have a couple of doctors. One person really stood out for me was Dr. Elizabeth. She was the main person that was leading the research team. They had this cool underwater base. They had this nice, like, futuristic looking submarine. It looked like take 3 tennis balls and put a stick on top of all 3 in a line. And this is what it looked like. But at the time, it's still cool.
Futuristic George Jetson. That's what
right? Was. It had its own like underwater bay to get into. And now you got to understand things in the 70s, people. This is when James Bond villains had bases that you would wonder, how did they get that? Because trying to buy a house in Toronto and you look at the real estate prices and then you look at what these guys had as bases, like secret bases. It's like, where'd you get that money from?
Come on, son.
Have you seen the real estate prices? So this character, they had the underwater bases. It was funded. They're trying to do the research. And now the whole thing is, one, trying to find, help Mark get back his memory, remember who he is, find Atlantis, the lost city of Atlantis, which would be a huge find for that research. And then, of course, you have the military division saying, well, are they more guys like that? Can we help them? Can we get them to work with us? Because,
wink.
Well, he's the ultimate frogman, right?
Exactly.
Nose tank. He can go and swim down as deep can be. On land, he's got heightened sight, heightened strength, faster reflexes, durability. So he's bigger, stronger, fast, right? They should have done a whole crossover with the TV heroes, like Man from Atlantis, the Bionic Man, right? Like, can you picture if that would have been? Oh, that would have been epic
Ultimate
in our time.
Team. Land, sea, and air coverage, right? That would have been wicked.
We would have to think who else can join that team from Automan, right? So you get Automan.
We still 80s.
The Bionic Man.
Okay, cool. The Bionic Man.
Man from Atlantis. Right?
Who else could have been perfect in that time? Oh, we're gonna have to come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
If you think of anything, please make sure you put that in the comments on the bottom, because that definitely be a nice.
I think this would be a subject for a hot shot. There we go. Okay.
I was about to say.
Yeah, this would be a subject for a hot shot. Get to the Patreon. So this is where the character comes in, and this is what the fun part about it was. And so watching this, the whole thing, we have to think. The Earth, 3/4 of the Earth is water. Right. A lot of room for an exploration. That's what they're doing. Now they have this. They have the confirmation. There is Atlantis. It does exist. The person that holds the key cannot remember who he is. And we don't know throughout the series. At one point, they thought, some people are saying, oh, Mark, you're an alien from outer space. You're not really from Atlantis. And they had him somewhat convinced, went back and he went, no. And so it was very ambiguous with his origin.
Right.
But he's trying to find out.
Right.
What hurt the show, in my opinion, is that it had multiple writers per episode. So it was never steady. You had to have, I think, one team of writers working on it beginning to end and have an idea where they were going. And because they didn't do it, it was really, they never worked on the subplot, which would have been bigger now. So that's my take of it. And
well,
yeah,
no, I'll agree with you on that, because I take it that, you got to think also in the times of when this is written, in the late 70s, how often do you see a show that has a long arc, a long story arc?
That's
very,
true.
very rare. So they are not accustomed to do that. Story, first act, second act, third act, show done, story's done, it's all wrapped up in the bow. Now we're closing it up, but there's still that lingering story that they're trying to figure out. And of course, you want to make it completely interesting, that the man from Atlantis who doesn't remember where he's from, we need to find out where he's from. So that's always going to be the second, third subplot. But I think just for the time, they couldn't think. They were trying to think past the next show, into the next show, and they just couldn't. They couldn't write anything that made a good, smooth transition from one episode to the next episode to the next episode to the next episode. And like you said, they were doing stuff where they were in water. So he's in the sea looking for Atlantis. Then thinking that he's from outer space. Okay, we're going to put you in a rocket and try to figure out, are you from outer space? How do we get from water to space? And then there's other episodes where there was like, he's in water now, but somehow he found so many different portals, quote unquote.
Yes.
Portal back into time, portal over here, portal over here,
wow,
portal over here, portal over here, portal over here, hey, ho, portal. Like it's too much. It was just a lot of movements. So I can see that it was more writing was like, what are we going to do for next week? Set it for portal. Yeah. Portal to where? We'll figure it out next week. Listen, it's Friday night. I'm going to sleep. And that's what it seemed like.
They Stargated him. See, they Stargated him before Stargate was around. Here we go.
Talk.
And I get your point, because at the time, when you look at Star Trek. Star Trek was written one episode. That's it. Not really many episodes linked together to the other episodes. They brought back maybe characters, and if you brought a character back, you remember where he came from. But it was like a spaghetti western where the story happened, beginning to end, done, wrapped it up as a nice bow. We move on, sweep on next.
Right.
The Bionic Man, okay, we knew pretty much with Steve Austin, Jamie Summers, Bionic Woman, what happened that episode. Maybe get a two-parter where they fight Sasquatch or the NASA robot. Okay, cool. And we sweep on next. It was no real subplot going on, right? It was like, we knew what he was, who he was, how he came to be. He's working a mission. Okay, that makes it. So for those type of shows, those storylines work. But for this one, I think it hurt it, because the whole thing is fighting Atlantis. Okay, you can't treat it like a spaghetti western. You got to let him find Atlantis at some point, or clues.
At some point.
So I agree with you on all that, and that's what hurt. But it had a lot of good actors on it, right? So, for example, one of the actors on there, and I'm pulling up her name right now, Jean Marie Horn. Now, I know her because she used to be on another sci-fi show that was kind of done by Hanna-Barbera, I think at the time, a live action show called The Ark 2, where it took place in the future. There was 3 scientists and a monkey in an RV going around, trying to help mankind. So she was the main person on that. So she went from that show to this show. I'm like, go on, you be the queen of sci-fi. So that's one. And then one of the other actors on there, he plays a doctor on the show, but he was also a villain in the Batman cartoon with Bruce Ward, Adam West and Burt Ward, right?
Got it.
He played King Tut. But he plays a doctor in this one. I mean, of course, at this time, he's since passed away. So it had a lot of good actors and other actors on the show, and even then, to show you, right, the show was produced by Herbert Franklin Solo, right, by his Studio Solo production company, and that was a spin-off from the live-action arm of the animation studio of Hanna-Barbera Productions. Okay, so you can tell the target market they were going for at the time. All for it. And there was some hits and misses. So one, I like the concept. Absolutely love the concept. Man from Atlantis, amnesia. Okay, fine. No, he doesn't talk to fish. Love that he gave him a support team around to help him find Atlantis, and that made sense. You know, he got lucky, he washed up on that shore, or was it luck? We don't know. You know, this was the breakout role for Patrick Duffy.
Correct.
Right? Because before he did Dallas,
this was it. This was basically catapulted him into Dallas. He had a lot of great screenplay and screen time and everything like that. When you watch a show, same in water, majority time, ain't got it. As you can, now that I'm literally saying this, wow, it makes so much sense for the time you see always Patrick Duffy or what was it? You see Bobby. Is it Bobby? Yeah, see Bobby Ewan. Bobby Ewan's always in the shower, and you know that kind of thing. Because why? Women want to see his chest. Because why? They just saw him like 2 years ago floating in water. We need to see him floating in water. So you're not floating, but you're gonna stand in the shower. Yeah, Bobby, that was it. So
Bobby had that swim. You know what I mean? Like even when he was swimming, he was like, as they say in F1 racing right now, the car was porpoising. How it bounces up and down. For those I love my F1, man. I'm all about that.
Nice.
You know, come on, Team LH.
There you go. Let's do it. I'm telling you. So I mean, the great thing about, like he had that presence, and he always was. They always make sure that he was, in good shots and whatever the case would be. Mm-hmm. He had the ability to talk. Not like Barry was saying, he had to talk to, he could communicate. He can understand. He didn't really talk to say, "Hey, Fish Bob, how you doing?" He just like, at least I can talk to and understand what, slightly understand what they're saying and kind of halfway direct them to say, "Well, help me out here," kind of scenario. But you see enough scenes where he's talking in water, so that was also a thing. Yes. He's a man from Atlantis, or he's a man fish. He's a man fish who can swim in water. He can breathe in water. He can sustain far depths and in heavy pressure. That's crushing. People who is not within suits. Submarines can't withstand that. And this man is like, I'm just gonna go for a walk. Y'all good? Got anything? I'll get you something. Let me swim up and get you something. You want some snails? I'll get you. That kind of scenario. But you see him talking, communicating, saying, "I can hear you, Elizabeth. I can hear you, Elizabeth." Well, he's outside. "I can hear you, Elizabeth." So it was interesting that they basically gave him, enough screenplay. But of course, he's the main person.
Yeah,
but he did well in the sense that,
it was his first
the longevity
role.
of the show.
Like, it was his role out the bat. Boom. For him, that was the role. He never, that was his first TV acting credit. Check. You're leading the series. So let's get down to it. He's got all these abilities. He's got a great cast. They got a cool looking base, right? They got their submarine. Everything was there for this show to be a success. Mm-hmm. And it had the interest. It had their demographic and market. And at the time, as I said, Hanna-Barbera was doing a lot more live action stuff. So they were doing, Star Command Space Academy, and Jason from Star Command, which was the same base in outer space. The Ark, another live action show. Wonderbug. Come on now. These are things that were working at the time, and they really went there saying, "Hey, we don't have to just do cartoons." So getting this and it wasn't even on a daytime; it was on at nighttime. So it wasn't really, like really for young kids. Like they really made it for adults, but it had that element that would still hold the kids' attention in. I know it held mine, and I thought it was cool. So the biggest thing was he's a man from Atlantis, and you hit on it before. He had to be underwater. Mm-hmm. Patrick Duffy had to do a lot of swimming. Now, even then, no green screen.
What's that?
You're the actor in the water.
In the water. Heat up the water for me. We got no time for that, Pat. Get in. We
got heated towels. So it was him in the water swimming. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about his swimming. Now, every time you hear people swimming, everyone can picture. For those, we all know how we swim. The man from Atlantis did not swim. He kind of waved through the water with his whole body.
Right, like an electric eel type of scenario.
More. Yes. He didn't even use his hands. His hands were beside his body at his waist, and he would lead with his head. And it wasn't an actor, wasn't a stunt double. It was Patrick Duffy in there swimming that way, doing his scenes.
Yeah, boy.
I can't imagine the amount of calories he burnt off, his lung capacity, his cardio. Let me tell you something right now. Patrick Duffy had to be in shape because he's still around up to today. Live well, Patrick Duffy, live well. And we'll get to him in a second. So he had to be in shape, son. Like, I mean, you know, you hear these things, CrossFit and all that. No, man, you want to impress me? Swim like the man from Atlantis. And that's what we did. Every time that I went to the pool or I was at the beach, and anytime I was around a body of water, my parents looked at me, Barry, what are you doing? I'm the man from Atlantis. What the ras is Barry talking about now? And I'm underwater going, trying to swim like Patrick Duffy, because it was cool. It was different. And it was no green screen. It was no special effects. It was really him, a cameraman, underwater. Do your scene. And he would do it. So, right? Because we see Aquaman, we see the movie Aquaman, the cartoon, you'd swim with his hands, or you always see him just kicking his feet. Hands are going. Same thing with Neymar. We understand that. People, you go for swimming lessons, you know, it's hand over hand and arm swing and turn your head and breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe, you know. He didn't do that. He waved his way through. So this is what I like about the show. This is, you know, now as I said, what hurt the show to me was two things. One, the writing was too all over the place, especially that they established from moment one Atlantis amnesia. Second thing that hurt this show, no toys. Anytime you had a show back there, they had at least model kits, toys, something like that to tie in with it. And they had a deal going with Kenner, but it didn't go through because near the end, you know, the ratings really dropped due to the writing. They had prototypes for a toy from the man from Atlantis. And I mean, come on, that sold itself. I mean, people would have bought it. I mean, if you remember Battlestar Galactica, people bought the toys, they bought the model kits, right? The Vipers, the Silent. Okay, they would have bought the submarine. They would have bought a toy figure. I've seen prototypes of it. I'm gonna throw this up, a prototype of what it was. So originally it was Man from Atlantis, but then it changed to Scuba Squad, and they used the same prototype. And it was cool. It was very basic, you know, but it would have been fun to have that when the show was on. That's how they did the marketing back then. It wasn't all about apps and what you can download. It was about what you can ask mom and dad to buy for Christmas and your birthday. Okay, so we got it, but then it sure got canceled. So then they said, well, you know, Kenner's like, well, we're going to still use this model. Scuba Squad. That got canceled. So it never got remade. It never got made. They had a prototype. It never got made. And I'm like, So that's two things to me that hurt the show. Overall, I see, you know, the episodes, right? So the four main movies. The first one was called Meltdown, you know, and this doctor threatens to, you know, cause worldwide flooding. Of course, it's flooding because it's Man from Atlantis. Wouldn't it be a worldwide explosion? It'd be kind of stupid. Mark would be like, I'm underwater. I'm good.
I'll wait for if it just blows over. I'm out.
You know, then they had one called the Mudworm. The Hawk of Mu. I'm like, giant, you know, and then of course you get into the other ones, Man of War, and so in Imp, a lot of people kind of like that episode of Imp, you know, and then Deadly Carnival, where, you know, Mark was helping because he would go undercover on missions and all that. So when he was on land, Mark would wear shades, help himself out, you know, because the sunlight, because his eyes were a little bit sensitive. I thought this show was going to go places because. Like and Marvel jumped on board and they came out of nowhere saying, hey, so you got a show, huh?
What you doing?
You want a comic? And I was like, yay, Marvel's got a comic. And that's what I mean by the miss. Marvel, I like the storyline. I mean, I like the storylines of the show, but I like the storylines what Marvel was going with. Because they brought in some other characters. And of course, being just drawing something, you don't have to worry about the budget of making it and so forth. Gave it a lot more. So in 1978, Marvel came out with the Man from Atlantis comic book. Unfortunately, it only ran for 7 issues. Right? But one of the guys on there is great at adopting properties, Michael Golden, because he was one of the guys, the writer, who wrote Micronauts. We all know how I feel about Micronauts.
God bless his cotton socks.
We all know how I feel about Micronauts. So,
and if you don't know, he likes Micronauts.
Just
put it out there. I'm just gonna say it out there just to say, if you don't know, he likes Mike. Osai, I'm being nice. I'm being PR. Okay, he loves Micronauts.
Look, there's a couple things I love. Love my wife. I love my Trans Ams. Love Micronauts. Oh yeah, sorry. I love my daughter, but she ain't taking my money or my clothes, or my clothes, because my child likes to take all my clothes.
Yesterday. Oh yeah.
So this was cool that they turned around and they did it for 7 issues. He got behind it. He wrote the stories for, and it were, once again, they gave more hints and dropping about Atlantis and getting there in the 7 issues of it, and then what I found unique was Marvel jumped on at the same time. Logan's Run had a movie. Logan's Run actually had a TV series. We'll jump on that maybe another time. No, we will jump on that another time.
Yeah, for sure.
And they came out with a 7-issue comic book by Marvel. 7 issues. Like, come on. Marvel's trying. So we're getting back here. This is what it is. Man from Atlantis, with everything's going on right now. I'm wanted to talk about this because I feel it needs to come back.
So, I will say this. I've read the episodes, watched a couple episodes and stuff like that. It is a unique bubble of it at its time. I believe, and I agree with you that it can be well adapted for today's society, today's time. Definitely, of course, we said writing was unfortunately the Achilles heel in this whole transition.
Right.
You get some good writing on that, the show can definitely take off because we now have a better understanding of marine landology and stuff like that.
Yeah, marine
biology. There's stories that we can definitely make up. Again, going back from the main premise, this person is a man from Atlantis who has amnesia. He has a pair of charts on his skin that has a particular squirrely logo, and no one could totally figure it out. Is that a symbol for Atlantis or not? That's going to be a key focal point. And now we have proper writers who know how to do long arcs, do like 2 to 3 sub per show, and still have a storyline to make it like saying, yeah, at the end there's I still don't know who I am, Elizabeth. I don't know who I am, but I will help you, and I'm okay with it. You call me Mark, I like it. You know what? I'll go by Mark Harris, but I don't know who I really am. But I think I'm a man from Atlantis. Let me find where I'm from, and we'll use that as a main base point, common denominator. Let's go math. Where we're going to find this guy? Listen, I think it can work out. I think it could definitely work out. You know what? I'll even say this. You brought up Aquaman in slightly just the thing earlier, and in the first movie, he was on a treasure hunt per se, looking for Atlantis in that regard. Now, granted, that movie went one way, but it's a storyline that can work, and if you really look into it, you're going to tell me that you can only think you'll only do this for 1 or 2 episodes? Come on, son. This is a storyline, as a plot line that can definitely gain some good traction, and properly traction that you at least will get at least 2 to 3 seasons. Easily. You should be able to get at least 2. That's if you're being lazy. 2 seasons. And you put in a little bit of work, you get 3. That's how I look at it.
I think I hear you. And hear me. I think we can actually get more.
I'm sure we can get more. But if someone wants to be really lazy, if they want to be really lazy,
yeah,
you can't tell me you can't pull out at least 2 to 3 seasons on just that, on that theme
alone.
Oh yeah,
on that premise alone. Yes, right.
On that premise alone. Like you can't tell me you can't do that. I'll be nice. I'm giving you like the lazy end of it, the back of the class. You only can write. You only can give me 2 theses. I'm biting my tongue to give you an F and get you back in it. But I want you in my class next year, so I'm gonna just get you to pass. You gave me 2,
right?
You should at least give me at least a lazy 3.
Right on.
Lazy 3.
See it? The glasses are coming off right now. Here we go.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to get all my parts in because I know from this point on, today's show is now being carried and brought to you by Barry 3D. Take it away, Barry.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So first of all, easy 3 seasons, right? And no problem. From what's going on here, you can retool that to 3 seasons. What you need is a team of writers. Go around. Now, I'm looking at you, CW. I'm looking at you, CW. So far, you've got rid of Legends of Tomorrow. You've canceled Batwoman. You've got some things that open up in your budget. Flash is coming to an end right now. You need a new property to jump onto. Don't be a slave to DC every single time. You need to turn around and adopt some other properties. So one, we've talked about it before, a couple episodes way back. The Bionic Man, it's up for grabs. We already cast it for you. There we go. Or bring a movie. Now let's stick with the Man from Atlantis. So first of all, we see this on the CW. Why the CW? Because they like writing dramas and so forth like this. Now here's how it works for you. You turn around, you get your team of writers. Don't make it too funny. No. Stay away. Don't want it too. Don't want it campy. Keep it to what the tone was supposed to be. This is original property. 2, with the budget, you can do the underwater scenes a lot better than other places have done them, in the past. Because 1978, 77, there was no green screen. No,
right now a green screen. Come on now, you can.
Come on now, we ain't even done yet. Hold up, hold the rhythm. Hold the rhythm. Patrick Duffy, who is still here up to now, has come full circle in his life. Patrick Duffy is up there. I'm not even sure. I think he's in his 70s or whatever. I'm not sure what age Patrick Duffy is right now, but Patrick Duffy is still around. First of all, good living. Second of all, he let him come back to the original project. Why should I say let him come back to the original project? What? How old is he?
73.
73. Why should he come back to the original project, I say? Because Patrick Duffy was not only the main actor of this series, he has a love and passion for what the character did to him, and he's one of the few people have given back to the character. By that, he wrote a book detailing what happened 13 whatever years after the original series stopped, and it continued the storyline where Mark Harris finds Atlantis.
Come on now.
It turns around and says Dr. Elizabeth was in love with Mark Harris all these years, but the love never got returned. And then he finds Atlantis. And some points in when he finds Atlantis is one, when he gets home, he realizes, even though he had amnesia, he had a wife in Atlantis. He got kids in Atlantis. He's been gone for so long, they didn't know what to think. So now here he is, still with amnesia, living on land, helping out. And how does that affect Elizabeth, who finally says, well, I'm in love with him, but he's got a wife? How come, one, they never really looked for him? Did they assume he was dead? 2, who is he? Is he a king?
It does.
Is he a politician? Is he a military man? Is he a janitor? Is he some guy flipping burgers at underwater McDonald's, serving fish burgers all the time? We don't know. But Patrick Duffy put the time in to write this novel that you can get on Amazon that explains all that. So now we've got closure and other things and aspects to work on. So CW, you take a little bit of what's at the beginning, you take a little bit of what's at the end, you put it in the middle, and you got yourself a couple of good seasons.
Shake it all about.
Shake it all about, because one, we get to finally learn, his name. Does he get back his memory? What happens after the fact? So I admit, I never read the book, but the points that it touched on in the book made me go, wow, okay, we got there. Here's where it comes down to get even more interesting. I know me and Rod, we do the fan casting thing. We do this all the time. This is what the show is all about. We fan cast, we have some fun, we drop some history, we talk some points. We haven't even got to the fan casting part yet. But Patrick Duffy is 73 and he's still in his charge of all his faculties. He needs, no matter who me and Rod are going to cast, he needs to come back into the show and play a character to pass the torch. Put him on as one, maybe put him on as the villain, because Patrick Duffy's always played the good guy. So it would be interesting to bring him back in the Man of Atlantis and either have him as the military advisor for the sea base, or put him as a reoccurring villain that he had to deal with all the time that was trying to get Mark to work with him. That same guy who was, I can't remember the name of the actor who played the, King Tut in the Batman episode, when he was playing that doctor, have him come back and play that along with everything else. And plus you have the original actor there on scene that can be an advisor for how the story can go because he has an understanding of the character already. Okay, CW, write us a check. We want interviews. We want access behind the scenes. You're welcome.
All we're saying. That's all we're saying. You good?
Okay, Rod.
You good?
I'm good. I think I'm good. I'm good.
So, that's good. That's good.
So who are you thinking of?
So who I'm thinking of is you know what? Put it this way. Mm-hmm. This particular individual is he's known to people.
Okay.
He has a sibling who's already in the Marvel universe. So you see now, so you know what? What you Francis? We're just gonna go with it. I'm going for that boy, that youngin', that nice young boy by the name of Liam Hemsworth. Liam Hemsworth. So I was looking for. So I'm going with the aspect of, yes, when Patrick was doing this, he was a young individual, whatever the case was. But I'm going to try to give him a little bit more age because you brought up a good point, even at this point in regards to having a wife and kids and stuff like that. So I wanted to give him some type of maturity and give him something. So I was looking for at least a mid 30, late 30s, not even late 30, but I was going to say that we're going to cast the character to be in the age bracket of early to mid 30s. Okay. So I realizing, okay, you know what? One of the nice things, you see him in the show, he's very clean cut. So Liam, the Helmsworth, they like their beard. They like their beard. We're gonna have to ask you make a for the colony, just shave off the beard. But I mean, seeing him in what was that movie? Like the Hunger Games. Okay, and that's where my mind was thinking of. Because seeing in the Hunger Games, being that he's still athletic, has the body shape and sculpture and everything like that. Just here. I mean, he didn't have no crew cut or nothing like that. So he had a nice pair of hair, instead of hair. So, you're in the water and he's got that free flowing. It's just looking like it's flowing. He's like a mask. So, I mean, yeah. Listen, I think he's a good character. I mean, he has the ability because of the Hunger Games mainly. Hunger Games, he's been able to have that type of compassion of being a leader, because there was always, why I can't remember her name right now, but we all know who we're referring to, the lead, lead actress of the Hunger Games. Yeah. And then he was always like a second. He was always like, at least leading male counterpart and stuff. I offer myself in tribute. Right. Okay, I got you. Okay. So okay. I'm gonna go with Liam. I'm gonna go with Liam. Plus the fact, now he can just show off to his brother and like say, hey, I made it to Marvel. Ma will love me. Ma will love me too. Well, it's true because I'm not even sure if this is still a Marvel property or not, if they can claim that back, right? So that would be interesting because then we can get that into the multiverse somehow. So here, okay, I hear you. So here I went with someone I looked at Mark and I needed someone with a kind face, distinctive features. I wanted to have the piercing eyes and he had to have the physique. The person I'm looking for had to have the physique, right? He's got to be someone that is able to convey tenderness, understanding, and show a depth of compassion, and innocence. But at the same time, when it comes down to business, Right. I picked an individual that fit all the attributes in my head. I think it would be interesting to see this person kind of take on that role. I know they are looking for a project, and this person kind of gets, in my opinion, gets slept on all the time. People overlook him all the time, and I think he would fit in. And he even said that he wanted to be in a Marvel property or superhero property or something attached. And that is simply Zac Efron. If you look at Zac Efron when he did the remake with The Rock with Baywatch,
First of all, Zac Efron's physique.
Yeah.
Height.
Yeah.
Right? He did those frat boy comedies with Seth Green.
Yep.
Seth Rogen. You know, he did Baywatch. Okay, I get it. High School Musical. But if you look at Zac Efron, physique, done. Chiseled jawline, done. The eyes, done. He's so pretty that it makes you go ugly. You understand that? People look at him going, damn, and they get all like screw face. But would he work in a pair of trunks walking around? Would Zac Efron have the physique to carry it off and all that? Absolutely. Does he have the tenderness and the compassion? Of course. He displayed that in High School Musical. Does he have some comedy and light-witted parts to him? Absolutely. And Zac Efron is being slept on. Zac Efron, if he wants to, and I know it's not your typical superhero stuff, but I think that him taking on the Patrick Duffy character, Mark Harris, would be able to, one, take it, run with it, make it his own. And if the writing is there, Zac Efron can carry the project. Not just barely. He would excel. Give him the script, studio, back him up, do it, and you can market this well. Zac Efron is 100% on this one. This was a no-brainer to me. Sometimes I sit there like, who can do it? And sometimes you have that aha moment when you're washing the dishes, and it was like, oh, Zac Efron. So why would I be thinking about Zac Efron? I don't know, because I didn't even watch any of these things recently with him. But Zac Efron is who I think would be the perfect man from Atlantis.
Good. I'm touche. Golf clap. Very good. I'm giving the golf clap because it was between Liam and Zac. I have Zac right here, and I'm like, even up to him, like, no. You know what? I want to give Liam a chance. I want not to give him a chance, but I want to go for Liam. But you absolutely are correct. Like, you basically, yeah. I'm not sleeping on Liam. Liam could definitely do it, but I hear what you're saying. But he was an option in my book too as well. That's like, okay, if I had said it, that would have been the most hilarious joke. Again, one of the rare moments that we've
had three so far. We've done that, right? That would have been time number 4. So to me, this is what I'm going to wrap it up with. I'm going to say Zac Efron. You went with Liam Hemsworth. 2 great call outs right there. You can tell we're passionate about our guy either way. But I look at the comic book and I see that Zac Efron like that right now. You put Patrick Duffy in there, bring in aspects of his storyline, of him fighting Atlantis, or maybe people looking for him. And what I like about Patrick Duffy's story, if you read the synopsis of it, it says that what caused him to start going after certain people in his book is because Mark had a couple of assassination attempts on him. And when they captured the guys, they realized they had the same biological makeup as Mark Harris. So clearly they came from the same place he did. And he kind of linked the clues back to finally get back to Atlantis.
Right.
Why were they trying to assassinate him? I don't know. I didn't read the book. Right. But I'm really interested to read the book because I'm actually tempted to read the book to find out what happened to Mark.
Nice. No, makes sense. I mean, you're definitely bringing, again, this is what I'm saying now. If we were to bring this story now, writing teams now would have a good way of, you see, you just brought up a good point, because I'm here thinking like linear in the sense like just find him back to Atlantis. Why can't we have a storyline where Atlantis is looking for him? Like you're saying, I never read the book, so I didn't know there was assassination attempts, and you can clearly tell that there's little symbols, whatever. Like, you know, the audience will now see that and make the connection. Like, whoa, is that the same symbol that Mark has? Oh, he's from the same place. Now proving to the audience point of view, Atlantis is real. Atlantis is out there. Mark doesn't know, no one knows, but Atlantis knows, and they're looking for him. This would be a great way that you can write that in the story. You know what? Again, this is how you get halfway into a second season. First season is all him trying to figure himself out. Beginning of second season, he's still trying to figure out a couple of lead points or something. You know, all the first one is just getting himself adapted to man's world, because there's also a couple of clips you hear the Patrick Duffy version, of course, the original version, where he's talking to Elizabeth and asking questions like, you know, why was people sarcastic? You know, the human the human dialect and emotion of how sarcasm and that kind of conversation elude him. So he always spoke in the sense like not even saying like a child, but the type of speech patterns, the way people talk, always confused them. So let's give him that first season trying to understand, learn, like they said in the beginning in the comic books, he really wasn't talking for at least the first two episodes kind of scenario, because he was slowly trying to understand these words. He's basically learning English. He's starting to learn human behavior. Because I'm not human, I'm humanoid, but I'm not human. True. So now let's go for the full season doing that. Now by the end of the first season, like, oh, he's getting more accustomed to how to be. How to be a human. Hey, hit it, Ralphie boy. Hey, he's acting like that. No problem. And then he goes to the second season. Under the sea. And that's it. Right. So that works out perfectly. So now the second season, now you start to see some hints and some trail, some little glimpse of like, Atlantis symbol here. Atlantis symbol. What's all that? Point of view the audience is seeing and realizing like, oh, Atlantis is real. Oh, this is going to be nice and interesting. Beautiful way to push yourself into a season 3. Let's go. It's halfway writing itself. It's halfway writing itself. Let's go.
Thank you. Whew. Well, that brings us to the whole roundabout episode of the Aquatic podcast. Rod, any last words to say before we shut it down for the night?
No, I would just say, like, listen, hope you guys enjoy what we bring. And as you can see, we always like to bring characters that is like, some people may have forgotten, may not have realized that it's out there. And I hope Man from Atlantis has piqued your interest and made you start thinking about, so there was other aquatic individuals, in the comic world. Because really and truly, you don't hear that much. If it's not under the umbrella of Aquaman or under the umbrella of Namor, you don't hear anything else.
No.
So I'm glad that we have so many flying superheroes, so many land-worthy heroes, villains, or whatever. You only got a couple of people who just swim in the water. Let's get another guy here. Guess what? The man from Atlantis is here, ladies and gentlemen. The man from Atlantis. Let's do it.
Absolutely. As Rod said, thank you everyone for tuning in. This is the Iconis podcast. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Don't let the show be a secret. We bring you a little hidden gem of the characters you might have overlooked or not remembered at the time. And if you can, help support the show, buy us a coffee, support the Patreon page. Famous words, as I always say, very simple. This whole world was started with a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. Good night. Under the sea.
I'm drowning.
Use your gills.
I got no gills. I can't
breathe. Boy, brethren, you got problems, man. You better be flying fish, man.
That salt water get to me, boy. I'm burning out my eye, boy. That salt water.